Have you ever whispered your deepest prayers into the darkness, only to feel as if your words evaporated into thin air? That hollow sensation in your chest, that quiet desperation when you've done everything right, yet still feel so utterly empty. You're not alone. In homes across the world, millions awaken with hopeful hearts, setting powerful intentions and speaking affirmations, only to collapse into bed at night, wondering why the gap between their dreams and reality keeps expanding like an endless chasm. It's as if we're standing at the edge of a vast divine ocean, calling out to God with everything we have, yet hearing nothing but our own echoes returning. What if I told you that this emptiness isn't because God has abandoned you, or because you're not worthy of His abundance? The truth is far more profound and far more liberating. This disconnect isn't because your prayers aren't being heard. It's because you've been speaking a language that the divine simply doesn't recognize. Has this ever happened to you? You create the perfect morning routine filled with prayer and gratitude. You visualize blessings pouring into your life. You do everything the spiritual teachers recommend. Yet weeks later, nothing has changed. Perhaps things have even gotten worse, as if God is testing your faith, or worse, has forgotten you completely. Stay with me, because today I'm going to reveal something so simple, yet so revolutionary, that it might completely transform your relationship with God and the universe. This isn't about trying harder or adding more spiritual practices to your already overwhelmed life. What you're about to discover might actually shock you, especially if you've been on a spiritual journey for years. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. The secret lies in 3 simple words that can instantly shift you from feeling spiritually empty to divinely fulfilled. Words that create an immediate energetic connection so powerful that God's abundance has no choice but to flow into your life. This isn't about begging or pleading. It's about accessing a forgotten power that has been your divine birthright since the moment you were created. Most of us have been taught to approach God as desperate supplicants, hoping for scraps of blessing from what we perceive as a distant, selective creator. But what if this approach is precisely why you remain feeling empty? What if God isn't ignoring your pleas, but is actually waiting for you to stop pleading altogether and start speaking the language of certainty? Think about this for a moment. Have you been asking God to respond to your needs? Or have you been claiming His promises with the authority that is your divine right as His beloved child? The revelation that changed everything for me came during my darkest hour of emptiness, when I discovered that God doesn't hear your requests the way you think. He responds to something far more powerful, the energy of certainty that emanates from your entire being. You see, the hidden truth behind your spiritual emptiness isn't that your techniques are flawed or that your faith is insufficient. It's that there's been a fundamental misalignment in how you've been approaching the divine. When you find yourself repeatedly visualizing, affirming, and praying without seeing tangible results, it's not because the universe is deaf to your pleas. It's because you've been unconsciously broadcasting a frequency of absence rather than abundance. Think of it as a profound mindset transformation. Every time you say, "I want financial freedom," or "I hope God blesses me with health," you're actually telling the universe that these things are not yet yours. And the spiritual realm, being the perfect mirror of your innermost beliefs, simply reflects that absence back to you with flawless precision. This journey toward authentic abundance requires understanding a revelation that few spiritual teachers ever discuss. When you approach the divine from a place of emptiness, desperately hoping to be filled, you actually perpetuate that very emptiness. The breakthrough comes when you realize that your relationship with God isn't meant to be one of constant asking, but of bold claiming. That's where these three transformative words come in. It is done. When spoken with genuine conviction, not as a technique or a trick, but as a declaration of spiritual truth, these simple words create a quantum shift in your energetic field that the divine cannot ignore. This isn't positive thinking or wishful hoping. It's a declaration of completion that operates on an entirely different vibrational frequency. The power behind "it is done" extends far beyond the syllables themselves. These words, when embodied fully, shift you from the timeline of "someday my blessings will come" to the reality of "my abundance exists now, in this present moment." You're stepping outside of linear time and accessing the eternal now, where all possibilities already exist in their completed form. Now, I want to go even deeper into why these three words work with such remarkable power. When you declare "it is done" from a place of authentic knowing rather than desperate, hoping, something transformative happens within your nervous system. Your shoulders relax, your breathing deepens, and a peaceful certainty replaces anxious striving. This bodily shift isn't just psychological. It's a measurable energetic transformation that God instantly recognizes. The frequency of completion operates as a magnetic force that physical reality rushes to match. Two people can use identical spiritual practices with wildly different results because one person speaks from hope, mixed with doubt, while the other speaks from a place of unshakable knowing. The universe doesn't hear their words, it feels their frequency. If you're recognizing how you've been unknowingly working against divine law rather than with it, write "I align with certainty" in the comments below. What you're beginning to understand is that the architecture of divine abundance operates on principles that most spiritual teachings have fundamentally misunderstood. Think about it. From childhood, most of us were conditioned to approach the spiritual realm from a posture of unworthiness. We were taught to bow our heads, to plead, to hope that if we were good enough, patient enough, or deserving enough, our prayers might eventually be answered. This paradigm creates an energetic blueprint that actually repels the very abundance you're seeking to attract. When you approach God or the universe as a beggar with an empty bowl, you're broadcasting the frequency of scarcity at the highest volume possible. You're essentially telling the cosmos, "I am empty, please fill me," without realizing that this declaration of emptiness becomes your dominant energetic signature. This revelation transforms the entire journey toward abundance into something revolutionary. The breakthrough moment arrives when you recognize that your relationship with divine forces isn't meant to be one of subordination, but of partnership. The cosmos isn't your master, it's your servant, designed to respond to commands issued with unwavering certainty. If these insights are resonating with you, join our community of conscious creators by hitting that subscribe button right now. Together, we'll explore more powerful truths that transform emptiness into divine abundance. Consider the profound difference between asking and commanding. When a child asks for something, there's an inherent uncertainty. They recognize the answer might be no. But when a sovereign makes a declaration, there's no question about the outcome. It simply is. This decisive certainty carries a completely different energetic signature that the universe recognizes immediately. The hidden truth that changed everything in my own spiritual journey was discovering that the universe doesn't have ears to hear your requests. It has energy receptors that respond only to the frequency of certainty. When you whisper your desires with trembling hope mixed with doubt, the universe perceives only the doubt, regardless of your words. But when you declare, "It is done," with the peaceful confidence of knowing it's already complete in the spiritual realm, You create an energetic broadcast that becomes irresistible to universal forces. This isn't magical thinking. It's aligning with precise spiritual laws that operate with mathematical certainty, just like gravity. You're not trying to convince God to grant your wishes. You're simply learning to align with laws that have been operating perfectly since the beginning of time. Most people have been unconsciously working against these laws rather than with them, asking timidly when they should be commanding boldly, hoping anxiously when they should be knowing peacefully, broadcasting the frequency of emptiness when they should be embodying the frequency of completion. Now, I want to share something profound about the hidden psychology behind this principle of commanding versus requesting that explains why so many spiritual seekers remain trapped in cycles of emptiness. Despite their best efforts, this insight will completely transform how you understand your relationship with abundance at its core. If you're beginning to see how your approach to the divine might have been creating the very emptiness you're trying to escape, type, "I release the beggar's mindset" in the comments below. The hidden psychology behind this manifestation gap reveals something truly revolutionary about your relationship with abundance. When you say, "I want," or "I hope to attract," or even "I am manifesting," you're actually transmitting a frequency of absence, a signal that says this thing is not yet mine. And the divine, being the perfect mirror that it is, simply reflects that absence back to you with flawless precision. This revelation transforms your entire understanding of spiritual abundance. The gap you've been experiencing isn't about insufficient technique or lack of effort. It's about the fundamental frequency you're broadcasting to the universe. Your conscious mind might be reciting perfect affirmations, but your energetic signature, the composite of your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, is telling a completely different story. When you declare, "It is done," you're making a profound energetic shift. You're not forecasting a future possibility or making a hopeful prediction. You're stepping outside of linear time and acknowledging a present completion, recognizing what already exists in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. This subtle but revolutionary distinction changes everything about how universal forces respond to you. Think about historical visionaries who manifested seemingly impossible dreams. When Martin Luther King Jr. proclaimed, "I have a dream," rather than "I hope for a dream," he was accessing this same principle of divine certainty. When Edison declared he would create the light bulb, despite thousands of failed attempts, he wasn't hoping. He was commanding with unwavering conviction. This pattern appears consistently throughout history among those who transformed their reality with extraordinary speed. The journey toward mastery of this principle requires understanding that words themselves have no inherent power. It's the energy behind those words that creates the miracles you seek. Just as identical musical notes played without passion feel hollow compared to those infused with emotion, your declarations to the universe operate on precisely the same principle. The words are just the notes. It's the certainty behind them that creates the symphony of your reality. When you declare "it is done" with authentic conviction, something transformative happens in your nervous system. Your body chemistry aligns with having rather than seeking. Your shoulders relax. Your breathing deepens. A peaceful certainty replaces anxious striving. This physiological shift isn't just psychological. It's a measurable, energetic transformation that the universe instantly recognizes and must respond to. This explains the mystery of why two people can repeat identical affirmations with radically different results. One speaks from hope mixed with doubt, while the other speaks from a place of unshakable knowing. The universe doesn't hear their words. It feels their frequency, and it responds to the dominant vibration with perfect precision every single time. Now, I want to reveal what happens in that critical moment when you shift from desperately wanting to calmly knowing. How this Transformation creates an entirely different relationship with the invisible forces that shape your reality. If you felt that profound shift when moving from anxiety to certainty about something important in your life, write, "I know the power of certainty" in the comments below. In that critical moment when you shift from wanting to knowing, a profound identity transformation occurs. This isn't just a change in what you're doing, it's a fundamental recalibration of who you are being in relationship to the divine. Think about the archetypal difference between a beggar and a sovereign. The beggar approaches life from a place of lack, hoping for scraps to sustain another day of existence. The sovereign, however, approaches life from a place of inherent authority, simply declaring what will be. This identity revolution represents the most significant breakthrough possible on your spiritual journey. Most people have been unknowingly positioning themselves as cosmic beggars, approaching God with an empty bowl, pleading for it to be filled. They stand before the infinite source of all abundance with their heads bowed, eyes downcast, hoping to be deemed worthy of receiving. But what if you were designed for something far more magnificent? What if your true spiritual identity isn't that of a beggar at all, but of a co-creator with divine authority? This profound awakening to your authentic spiritual DNA transforms everything about how you engage with universal forces. When you declare it is done, you're not trying to convince God of anything. You're stepping into the sovereignty that has been your birthright all along. You're reclaiming your position as a conscious creator rather than remaining a passive recipient of whatever circumstances happen to come your way. The universe has been waiting for you to remember this truth since the moment of your creation. The decision point in your own journey comes when you recognize that no amount of pleading, hoping, or spiritual techniques can override this fundamental principle. The real inner work happens at the level of identity, shifting from someone who feels the need to justify their abundance to someone who recognizes prosperity as their natural state. Consider how differently you move through the world when you genuinely embody this creator consciousness. Your posture changes, your voice carries a different resonance, your decisions align with abundance rather than scarcity. You naturally take inspired actions rather than desperate ones. These aren't superficial changes, they're the external manifestations of a profound internal transformation. When you speak from this place of divine authority, saying, "It is done," you create an entirely different energetic broadcast than when you say, "I hope this works," or "Please let this happen for me." One declaration emanates from your sovereign center, the other from your wounded periphery. And the universe, that perfect mirror of your dominant frequency, can only reflect back the primary signal you're transmitting. The journey from cosmic beggar to divine co-creator represents one of the most significant evolutionary leaps possible in human consciousness. It's moving from the wilderness of uncertainty and limitation into the sanctuary of knowing and expansion. It's remembering a truth your soul has always known, but your conditioning has obscured. Now I want to explore something fascinating about how this principle operates. In your daily experience, how some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance, while others remain trapped in cycles of scarcity despite their best spiritual efforts. If you're feeling that resonance with your true identity as a creator rather than a beggar, write, "I reclaim my creator consciousness" in the comments below. Have you ever noticed how time seems to be the great barrier between you and your abundance? We're conditioned to believe that manifestation is a process that unfolds across a linear timeline. You plant the seed today, nurture it tomorrow, and perhaps, if you're persistent enough, harvest the fruits sometime in the distant future. But what if this fundamental understanding of spiritual abundance is what's keeping you trapped in cycles of emptiness? The revolutionary insight that transforms everything is this: when you declare "it is done," You're not making a prediction about what might happen someday. You're making a declaration about what already exists in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. You're stepping completely outside the conventional timeline where manifestation is a future event and aligning with the spiritual reality where what you desire is already complete in its perfect form. This perspective shift represents one of the most profound breakthroughs possible on your spiritual journey. Most teachings position God's abundance as something you'll hopefully attract someday if you're patient enough, worthy enough, or spiritually disciplined enough. But "it is done" operates on an entirely different principle. It's not about attracting something new, but aligning with what already exists in divine completion. When you genuinely embody this shift in consciousness, something remarkable happens in your physical body. Your entire nervous system responds to this new perception of reality. When you're trapped in the wanting mindset, your body remains in a subtle but persistent stress response. Your shoulders tense slightly. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your stomach tightens with the anxiety of absence. Your entire physiology aligns with seeking rather than having. But the moment you authentically embody the energy of "it is done," a tangible transformation occurs. Your shoulders naturally drop away from your ears. Your breathing deepens and slows. A peaceful certainty replaces the anxious striving that's been your constant companion. This bodily shift isn't just psychological. It's a measurable, energetic transformation that ripples outward from you, creating a completely different broadcast to the divine. Neuroscience confirms what spiritual masters have known for centuries. Your body doesn't distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. When you fully embody the feeling of completion, your nervous system responds as if your desire is already physically present. This physiological alignment becomes a powerful catalyst that accelerates manifestation beyond what most people believe possible. The distinction between these two states, anxious wanting versus peaceful certainty, isn't just subtle, it's revolutionary. One creates interference patterns that cancel out your manifestations before they can materialize. The other creates coherent commands that the universe rushes to fulfill. This isn't metaphysical theory, it's the practical mechanics of how consciousness shapes reality. Now, I want to explore why some people seem to effortlessly embody this certainty, while others remain trapped in cycles of anxious hoping despite their best efforts. The hidden catalyst that transforms your relationship with abundance isn't what you might expect. If you've experienced that profound bodily shift when moving from anxious wanting to peaceful certainty, write "my body knows completion" in the comments below. The hidden catalyst that transforms your relationship with abundance lies in understanding the immutable laws that govern our universe. Just as gravity functions with perfect precision regardless of your belief in it, the laws of divine manifestation operate with the same unwavering certainty. Jump from a building and you'll experience the effects of gravity whether you understand it or not. Speak from a place of lack and you'll experience scarcity with the same mathematical precision. Ready to continue this journey of transformation? Subscribe now to discover more life-changing spiritual principles that will help you command your reality with absolute certainty. This revelation completely transforms your spiritual framework. You're not trying to convince God to grant your wishes through fervent prayer or perfect spiritual practice. You're simply learning to align with laws that have been operating flawlessly since the beginning of time. This mindset revolution represents one of the most profound awakening moments on your journey of transformation. Consider the fundamental difference between asking and commanding that we witness in the natural world. When a child asks for something, there's an inherent uncertainty woven into their request. They recognize on some level that the answer might be no. Their energy carries this uncertainty, regardless of how confident their words might sound. But when a sovereign issues a command, there's no question about the outcome. It's simply a declaration of what will be. This decisive certainty carries a completely different energetic signature, a frequency that the divine recognizes immediately and responds to with perfect precision. The universe doesn't evaluate your worthiness to receive abundance. It simply mirrors back whatever energetic broadcast you're transmitting. This explains the mystery of why two people can repeat identical spiritual practices with radically different results. One person speaks from hope mixed with doubt, while the other speaks from a place of unshakable knowing. The universe doesn't hear their words. It feels their frequency and responds accordingly. Most people have been unconsciously working against these universal laws rather than with them. They've been asking timidly when they should be commanding boldly. They've been hoping anxiously when they should be knowing peacefully. They've been broadcasting the frequency of emptiness when they should be embodying the frequency of fullness. The breakthrough happens when you recognize that these laws aren't personal. God isn't testing you or making you prove your worthiness. Through spiritual obstacle courses, the divine is simply responding with perfect precision to the energetic broadcast you're transmitting. When you declare, "It is done," from a place of authentic alignment, you're not trying to bend universal law. You're finally working in harmony with it. This understanding illuminates why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance into their lives. They're not luckier or more deserving than you. They've simply, whether consciously or unconsciously, aligned their energetic signature with the frequency of having rather than wanting. Their command center has been recalibrated from pleading to proclaiming. Now, I want to reveal something profound about the hidden psychology behind manifestation that explains why so many spiritual seekers remain trapped in cycles of hope and disappointment despite their best efforts. If you're recognizing how you've been unknowingly working against universal law rather than with it, write, "I align with divine certainty" in the comments below. The hidden psychology behind manifestation that few spiritual teachers ever reveal is that most people aren't failing at manifestation because they're doing something wrong. They're simply operating from an entirely incorrect paradigm. You're not spiritually deficient. You're not being punished or overlooked by God. You've just been using the wrong rule book altogether. Think about this revelation for a moment. From childhood, most of us were conditioned to approach the divine like children approaching a parent, asking permission, hoping for approval, wishing upon stars. We learned to be good, patient supplicants, waiting for blessings to be bestowed upon us if we were virtuous enough, disciplined enough, or spiritually devoted enough. And unconsciously, we've transferred this exact same dynamic to our relationship with God and the universe. We've been treating the cosmic forces of creation like cosmic parents who might, if we're good enough, finally grant our wishes. This fundamental misunderstanding creates an energetic posture of waiting, hoping, and subtle begging that actually repels abundance rather than attracting it. The mindset revolution happens when you realize this transformative truth. The universe isn't your parent, it's your servant. This paradigm shift isn't about ego or arrogance. It's about accurately understanding the mechanics of creation. The universe is an impersonal force designed to respond to commands, not wishes. It's programmed to obey declarations, not evaluate worthiness. It mirrors back whatever energetic broadcast you're emitting with mathematical precision. When you approach the universe with uncertainty, saying things like, "I hope this works," or "Please let this happen for me," you're essentially telling the universe to keep you in a state of hoping and asking rather than receiving. The universe doesn't judge these requests as good or bad. It simply reflects back the exact frequency you're transmitting. The catalyst for transformation occurs when you shift from asking to declaring, from hoping to commanding. This isn't just a semantic change in the words you use. It's a complete recalibration of your relationship with the forces of creation. It's moving from the energetic posture of a child to the energetic posture of a creator with divine authority. This awakening to your creative sovereignty represents one of the most profound evolutionary leaps in consciousness possible. It's the moment you reclaim your power as a co-creator, rather than remaining a passive recipient of life's circumstances. God and the universe have been waiting for you to step into this role since the moment of your creation. When you make this fundamental shift, manifestation stops being about trying harder or doing more spiritual practices. It becomes about embodying a different state of being, one where you naturally command rather than request, where you declare rather than hope, where you know rather than wish. This identity transformation creates an entirely different energetic broadcast that the divine can only respond to with abundance. Now, I want to explore the 3 simple yet profound words that have the power to command what you desire into your life with absolute certainty. Words that, when spoken with the right energy, literally rearrange the quantum field around you. If you feel the resonance of moving from cosmic child to cosmic creator, write "I command as creator" in the comments below. The 3 simple words that transform emptiness into divine fullness are, "It is done." These words might seem ordinary on the surface, but when spoken with genuine conviction, they create a subtle but unmistakable shift in your energy field that transforms your entire relationship with abundance. Have you ever noticed those rare individuals who seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, resources, and connections into their lives? They're not experiencing random good fortune or cosmic favoritism. They've mastered, often unconsciously, the art of energetic certainty. When you observe these natural manifestors closely, you'll notice something fascinating about their presence. They move through the world radiating an energy that says, "It is done," while others remain caught in the frequency of desperate hoping and pleading. They don't chase opportunities, they magnetize them. They don't beg the universe for blessings, they command them with quiet confidence. The energetic difference between these 2 states is immediately perceptible to everyone around them. Desperation feels contracted, tense, and frantic. Aligned certainty feels expanded, peaceful, and grounded. One energy repels abundance, the other attracts it with remarkable precision. What science is now confirming through groundbreaking research is that this distinction isn't just philosophical, it's literally electromagnetic. When you speak the words, "It is done," from a place of genuine authority rather than desperate hoping, you actually alter the electromagnetic field that surrounds your physical body. Researchers have documented that human emotions create measurable changes in our electromagnetic output, a discovery that bridges the gap between ancient spiritual wisdom and modern quantum understanding. Fear, anxiety, and uncertainty emit one frequency pattern, while certainty, peace, and completion broadcast an entirely different signature. The universe, being fundamentally energetic in nature, responds not to your vocabulary, but to this invisible broadcast that emanates from your entire being. This isn't metaphysical speculation. It's the frontier where science and spirituality are finding remarkable convergence. Think about those rare moments in your life when you absolutely knew something was going to happen. Perhaps you were certain you would get a particular job or connect with a specific person. That unshakable knowing created a different energy than hoping or wishing, didn't it? There was no internal division, no split frequency, just a quiet, peaceful certainty that eliminated all doubt without effort. That's the exact state of coherence that "It is done" helps you access consistently and intentionally. When you declare these words from authentic alignment, you're not just speaking syllables, You're reconfiguring your entire electromagnetic broadcast to match the frequency of completion rather than seeking. You're shifting from the electromagnetic signature of emptiness to the electromagnetic signature of fullness. This revelation transforms your understanding of why affirmations often fail to produce results. When you repeat, "I am abundant," while your energy field is broadcasting scarcity, you're creating an internal contradiction that the universe cannot reconcile. Your words say one thing, but your frequency says something entirely different. And in this energetic dissonance, your frequency always overrides your words. Now I want to explore exactly how to achieve authentic alignment between your declaration and your energetic broadcast. The missing key that transforms empty words into powerful commands that reshape reality. If you've noticed how your energy shifts when moving from doubt to certainty about something important in your life, write, "I feel the electromagnetic shift" in the comments below. The principle of energetic command that we're exploring together hasn't been hidden from humanity. It's been demonstrated throughout history by the most extraordinary visionaries who transformed their reality in seemingly miraculous ways. If you look closely at anyone who has manifested remarkable outcomes against all odds, you'll notice they operated from this fundamental stance of certainty rather than hope. When Thomas Edison declared he would create the light bulb despite thousands of failed attempts, he wasn't hoping for success. He was commanding it with unwavering certainty. When Martin Luther King Jr. proclaimed, "I have a dream," rather than "I hope someday for a dream," he was accessing this same universal principle of divine command. When Mother Teresa built her global ministry from nothing, she didn't proceed with timid uncertainty. She moved with the quiet confidence of someone who knew her path was already established in the spiritual realm. The revelation here isn't that these individuals were special or chosen. It's that they naturally aligned with laws that are available to everyone. This pattern of commanding reality rather than requesting permission appears consistently across cultural boundaries, time periods, and disciplines. The most pioneering entrepreneurs, inventors, artists, healers, and leaders throughout history have embodied this energetic signature of completion before physical evidence appeared in their reality. They made decisions from their vision rather than their circumstances. A subtle but revolutionary distinction. While others were paralyzed by what they could see with their physical eyes, these visionaries were moved by what they perceived with their spiritual sight. They didn't deny reality. They simply recognized a higher reality that was already complete in the quantum field. The breakthrough in your own journey comes when you recognize that this isn't about mimicking the words of successful people. It's about embodying the energetic frequency they naturally broadcast. When you say, "It is done," with your lips, while your energy communicates doubt, you're sending mixed signals that cancel each other out before they even leave your energy field. The universe receives static rather than clarity. But when your entire being aligns with the certainty of completion, your words, thoughts, emotions, and beliefs all broadcasting in perfect harmony, you create an energetic coherence that becomes irresistible to the quantum field. This alignment is what transforms ordinary words into commands that reshape reality. Think of it like music for a moment. The same exact notes played without passion feel hollow and mechanical, but when those identical notes are infused with authentic emotion and intention, they can move you to tears, transport you to different emotional landscapes, and create profound experiences that transcend the notes themselves. Your communication with the divine operates in precisely the same way. The words you speak are just the notes. It's the energy behind those words that creates the symphony of your reality. Now, I want to reveal something profound about what happens when you achieve this state of perfect coherence, the physiological transformation that occurs when you move from divided intention to unified command. If you've noticed how powerful visionaries throughout history spoke with certainty rather than hope about their vision, write, "I command like a visionary" in the comments below. When you achieve perfect coherence between your words and your energy field, a fascinating physiological transformation begins to unfold. Think about how you normally wake up in the morning. For most people, those first moments of consciousness are immediately filled with subtle anxiety, mental checklists, worries about the day ahead, perhaps even dread about particular responsibilities or challenges. This morning mindset creates a specific trajectory for your entire day, one where you're constantly seeking, striving, and chasing after what you lack. But imagine waking up tomorrow morning, and in those precious moments between sleep and full wakefulness, feeling an unshakable knowing that what you desire is already yours. Not hoping it might manifest someday, not anxiously wondering when it will appear, but experiencing the peaceful certainty that it's already complete in the realm of infinite possibilities. This shift in consciousness creates a fundamentally different blueprint for your entire day and ultimately your entire life. When you begin each day from this elevated state of being, your decisions, conversations, and perceptions naturally align with this certainty. You move through the world differently. Your posture changes, your voice carries a different resonance, your energy field broadcasts a completely different signature. This isn't pretending or engaging in elaborate visualization. It's embodying a higher truth that exists beyond your current circumstances. Those first minutes after waking represent one of the most powerful windows for transformation. Your brain is still in theta state, the same receptive brainwave pattern associated with deep meditation, making those moments extraordinarily fertile ground for planting the seeds of certainty. When you whisper, "It is done," in those threshold moments between worlds, you're programming your subconscious mind at its most receptive point. But here's where most people unknowingly sabotage this powerful morning foundation. Throughout their day, they use the language of lack in their conversations, thoughts, and even prayers. Every time you say, "I want," "I need," "I hope to get," or "I wish I had," you're actually broadcasting the frequency of absence to the universe. You're telling the quantum field, "This is missing from my life." And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, simply reflects that absence back to you with flawless precision. This unconscious language pattern creates one of the most significant blocks in the manifestation journey. Your words aren't just descriptions of your reality, they're architects of it. When you declare, "I want financial freedom," the universe doesn't hear the object of your desire. It hears and responds to the frequency of wanting, which is fundamentally a broadcast of lack. The transformation begins when you recognize this subtle but critical distinction and begin shifting your language patterns from requesting to commanding, from begging to declaring, from hoping to knowing. Instead of saying, "I want abundance," you declare, "Abundance flows to me now." Instead of "I hope to find love," you proclaim, "Love surrounds me completely." This isn't wordplay or semantic games. It's a fundamental recalibration of your energetic broadcast that transforms your relationship with divine abundance at its core. Now, I want to explore the revolutionary mindset shift that most spiritual teachings completely miss. The profound difference between approaching the universe as a supplicant versus approaching it as a sovereign co-creator. If you're noticing how your daily language might be unconsciously reinforcing emptiness rather than abundance, write, "I speak with creator authority" in the comments below. This revelation brings us to one of the most powerful mindset transformations possible on your spiritual journey. Most people have been approaching the universe as supplicants, children hoping for permission or blessings from some higher authority. But what if your relationship with the divine forces isn't supposed to be one of subordination, but of partnership? What if you were designed to command rather than request, to declare rather than plead? This paradigm shift represents a revolutionary departure from traditional spiritual frameworks. Throughout history, most religious and spiritual traditions have positioned humans as subordinates, kneeling before cosmic powers, hoping to be deemed worthy of blessings. This hierarchical structure has been so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness that we rarely question its validity. But consider this illuminating insight. What if this framework was never the divine design at all? What if it was merely a human interpretation that actually blocks the natural flow of abundance? The decision to shift from the language of lack to the language of completion represents a profound evolutionary leap in consciousness. It's reclaiming your power as a conscious co-creator rather than remaining a passive recipient of whatever circumstances happen to come your way. The universe has been waiting for you to step into this role since the moment of your creation. When you declare "it is done" from this sovereign center, you're not being arrogant or dismissing the divine. You're actually honoring the original blueprint for your existence, to be a conscious channel through which infinite abundance flows unobstructed. Think about how differently you approach life's challenges from these two distinct vantage points. The supplicant mindset perpetually asks, will I be allowed to have what I desire? Am I worthy enough? Have I earned this blessing? These questions create an energetic posture of contraction, hesitation, and subtle fear. But the creator mindset simply declares, this is what I choose to experience. This is the reality I am calling forth. It is done. This declaration creates an energetic posture of expansion, certainty, and peaceful knowing. This transformation isn't about inflating your ego. It's about recognizing your authentic spiritual DNA as a creative force. It's about remembering that you were designed as a channel through which divine abundance flows, not as a barrier that must constantly prove itself worthy of receiving. When you speak from this place of spiritual authority, saying "it is done," you create an entirely different reality trajectory than when you say, "I hope this works," or "please let this happen for me." The journey from spiritual beggar to divine co-creator represents one of the most significant evolutionary leaps possible. It's moving from the wilderness of uncertainty into the garden of knowing. It's remembering a truth your soul has always known, but your conditioning has obscured, that you were always meant to create in partnership with the divine, not plead for scraps from an indifferent cosmos. Now, I want to explore the profound difference between needing abundance and commanding it, and how this energetic distinction changes everything about your relationship with divine fullness. If you're feeling the resonance of shifting from spiritual supplicant to divine co-creator, write "I partner with infinite abundance" in the comments below. Here's one of the most profound insights that transformed my entire relationship with abundance. It's not that affirmations don't work, it's that most people are using them in a way that creates energetic contradiction rather than coherence. Think about how many mornings you've stood in front of your mirror, faithfully declaring phrases like "I am wealthy" or "abundance flows to me easily," only to check your bank account weeks later and find the same financial reality staring back at you. This pattern creates not just disappointment, but a creeping doubt about whether spiritual principles work at all. The revelation that changed everything for me was discovering that the words themselves aren't broken. It's the internal alignment behind them that's missing. When you repeat "I am rich," while your energy field is broadcasting scarcity, you're creating an internal conflict that the universe cannot reconcile. Your words are saying one thing, but your frequency is saying something entirely different. And in this energetic dissonance, your frequency always overrides your words. This insight illuminates why two people can practice identical affirmations with dramatically different results. One person speaks from a place of desperate hoping, essentially begging the universe for change. Their words say abundance, but their energy screams lack. The other person speaks from quiet authority, from the peaceful certainty that what they're declaring is already complete in the quantum field. Same words, entirely different energetic signatures. The breakthrough happens when you recognize that manifestation isn't about perfect phrasing or memorizing magical sentences. It's about achieving energetic coherence, alignment between your words, thoughts, emotions, and subconscious beliefs. When you declare "it is done," while genuinely feeling the peaceful certainty of completion, you create a unified energetic broadcast that the universe naturally mirrors back to you in physical form. This understanding transforms affirmations from empty words into powerful declarations that actually reshape your reality. The critical shift occurs when you move from reciting phrases you're trying to believe to simply acknowledging what you recognize is already true on the deepest level. This isn't positive thinking. It's energetic alignment with a higher reality that already exists in potential form. The journey toward mastery lies in developing your sensitivity to your own energetic broadcast, learning to feel when you're in alignment and when you're in contradiction. This internal calibration becomes the foundation of your manifestation practice. You begin to recognize the subtle difference between speaking from hope mixed with fear versus speaking from peaceful certainty. One creates interference patterns, the other creates coherent commands. Have you ever noticed how you can sense when someone doesn't believe what they're saying? Even if their words sound confident, there's a subtle discord that you can feel intuitively. This same principle operates in your relationship with the universe. When you recite affirmations while doubt, fear, or unworthiness runs beneath your words, you create an energetic dissonance that the universe immediately perceives. Now, I want to explore the fascinating neuroscience behind this principle, how your brain actually cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced, and how this biological fact becomes one of your most powerful tools in the manifestation process. If you've experienced the frustration of repeating affirmations without seeing results because your energy didn't match your words, write "I choose energetic coherence" in the comments below. The neuroscience behind manifestation reveals something truly revolutionary about how your brain processes reality. Researchers have documented that your brain actually cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. When you genuinely embody the feeling of "it is done," your nervous system responds as if your desire is already physically present in your life. This biological insight transforms everything about the manifestation process. You're not trying to convince your conscious mind of something it doesn't believe. You're bypassing the analytical mind entirely and speaking directly to the subconscious, the part of you that actually creates your perceptual reality. When you declare "it is done" from this embodied state of knowing, you're not just repeating words. You're literally reprogramming the neurological patterns that determine what you perceive, experience, and create. Think about the last time you declared an affirmation like "I am wealthy" while your bills sat unpaid on your desk. Did you feel that internal resistance, that subtle voice whispering, "That's not true"? That contradiction between your words and your energy creates a split frequency that cancels itself out before it even leaves your energy field. The universe receives static rather than clarity. The hidden truth that most manifestation teachers miss is that the universe doesn't respond to your vocabulary. It responds to your vibrational signature, the energetic broadcast that emanates from your entire being. This signature is composed of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and expectations, all blended together into a unique frequency that the quantum field immediately recognizes and mirrors back to you with perfect precision. When your vibrational signature truly matches what you're commanding, the divine doesn't have the option of ignoring you. It's not making choices about whether to grant your wishes. It's simply following the immutable law of resonance where, like attracts like with mathematical certainty, this understanding removes the element of chance or luck from your manifestation journey and places you firmly in the director's chair of your own experience. Words without energetic alignment are essentially empty sounds vibrating in the air. They carry no manifestation power because they lack the authentic frequency that creates reality. This revelation transforms your entire approach to abundance. It's never been about finding the perfect phrases or magical incantations. It's always been about the authentic energy you infuse into whatever words you choose. The journey from mixed signals to energetic coherence represents one of the most significant evolutions in your spiritual practice. Rather than trying to overpower your doubts with louder affirmations, you learn to create authentic alignment between all aspects of your being, bringing your subconscious beliefs into harmony with your conscious intentions, aligning your emotional state with your verbal declarations, and calibrating your energetic broadcast to match your highest desires. This shift moves you from the exhausting effort of trying to manifest against internal resistance to the peaceful power of creating from complete congruence. It's the difference between pushing a boulder uphill and standing at the top of the mountain, simply releasing it to roll down naturally. One requires constant strain and produces minimal results. The other harnesses natural law and creates momentum without effort. Now, I want to explore the fascinating aspect of manifestation that most people completely miss. Why setting your intentions at a specific sweet spot in terms of expansion actually accelerates the manifestation process dramatically. If you felt that internal contradiction between your words and your energy when using affirmations, write "I choose congruent creation" in the comments below. There's a fascinating phenomenon in manifestation that I call the quantum sweet spot of intention setting. When you're commanding something into your life, there exists a perfect calibration point that dramatically accelerates the manifestation process. This revelation transformed my understanding of why some declarations seem to materialize almost instantly, while others remain stubbornly distant despite our best efforts. Set your target too small, like commanding $500 or even $5,000 to enter your life, and it doesn't require a significant shift in your belief system or identity. Your life doesn't fundamentally change, so your subconscious doesn't engage fully in the transformation process. The frequency you broadcast doesn't carry enough intensity to create powerful resonance in the quantum field. It's like whispering when you could be singing. But set your target too enormous, like commanding $50 million to appear, and most people's internal resistance kicks in so strongly that manifestation becomes nearly impossible. Your subconscious instantly flags it as unrealistic and begins generating evidence to support that conclusion, creating an uphill battle against your own internal mechanisms. The gap between your current identity and the identity required to embody that level of abundance creates energetic dissonance rather than coherence. The revelation that transformed my own journey was discovering this sweet spot of manifestation. Targets large enough to create excitement and meaningful transformation in your life, yet still within the realm of possibility for your current belief system. This calibration point creates the perfect balance between stretch and belief that accelerates the manifestation process exponentially. Think about what happens when you set an intention in this sweet spot. There's enough expansion to activate your creativity and problem-solving capabilities, enough significance to engage your full attention and emotional investment, but not so much stretching that your subconscious mind goes into protection mode and shuts down the process entirely. This delicate balance point is where manifestation thrives. This insight leads us to perhaps the most profound revelation about the entire manifestation journey. It isn't actually about attracting things to you from the outside. It's about becoming the version of yourself who naturally magnetizes this level of prosperity. This identity shift represents the most significant transformation in the entire process. Most people approach manifestation as something they do rather than someone they become. They see it as a series of techniques to attract external circumstances into their lives. But the breakthrough occurs when you recognize that true manifestation happens through a fundamental identity transformation, shifting from the person who hopes to attract abundance to the person who naturally embodies it. When you declare, "It is done," with authentic conviction, you're not just placing an order with the universe. You're stepping into the identity of someone for whom this level of abundance is natural, expected, and completely aligned with their self-concept. This inner journey of becoming represents the most powerful aspect of manifestation that most teachings completely overlook. Think about how a genuinely prosperous person moves through the world. They don't wake up each morning desperately affirming abundance. They simply live from the quiet certainty that prosperity is their natural state. They make decisions differently, carry themselves differently, and interact with resources differently, not because they're trying to manifest abundance, but because abundance is already woven into the fabric of their identity. Now, I want to share something that might completely transform your understanding of what you're really seeking when you command abundance into your life. And it's probably not what you think it is. If you're beginning to recognize that manifestation is more about who you become than what you do, write, "I am the embodiment of abundance" in the comments below. When you talk about commanding abundance with "it is done," what you're truly seeking isn't actually the material possessions, the numbers in your bank account, or even the money itself. These are simply vessels for what you're really commanding into your experience: freedom, pure, unbridled freedom. This distinction completely revolutionized my understanding of the manifestation process and transformed my relationship with abundance at its core. When you command abundance with "it is done," you're not actually focused on the numerical value of what you're calling in. You're commanding the liberation from fear, constraint, and limitation that allows you to live a fully expressed life. This subtle but profound mindset shift changes everything about how you approach the manifestation process. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and checking your accounts to find abundant resources there. What changes instantly isn't just your financial status, it's your entire relationship with life itself, that knot of tension that forms in your stomach when an unexpected bill arrives. Gone. The hesitation you feel when considering whether to help a family member in need, vanished. The quiet dread that accompanies each swipe of your credit card, dissolved completely. This level of abundance represents a profound paradigm shift in consciousness. It's the ability to make decisions based on what truly resonates with your soul, rather than what your limited resources dictate. It's about walking through life from a completely different vantage point, where your choices stem from inspiration rather than desperation, from expansion rather than contraction, from love rather than fear. The breakthrough moment comes when you connect emotionally to this freedom rather than fixating on the number itself. When you declare, "it is done," while feeling the emotional signature of freedom rather than just thinking about money, you actually accelerate the manifestation process exponentially. The universe responds much more powerfully to the vibration of freedom than it does to the vibration of wanting money. This subtle but critical distinction transforms your entire manifestation practice. You begin commanding the essence of what abundance represents, the freedom to give generously without calculating the impact on your own security, the freedom to pursue what lights you up without worrying about immediate financial return. The freedom to rest when you need restoration without anxiety about productivity. When you attune your command to this deeper frequency of freedom rather than just material accumulation, you access a much more powerful current of creative energy. Your command becomes about liberating your authentic self-expression rather than just acquiring external symbols of success. This alignment with your soul's true desire for freedom creates a magnetic pull that accelerates manifestation beyond what most people believe possible. Here's one of the most profound insights that transformed my entire relationship with abundance. Money is not attracted to people who need it. Money is attracted to people who command it. And there is a massive energetic difference between these two states of being that changes everything about your manifestation results. Need is essentially emotional scarcity broadcast at high volume. When you need money, you're transmitting a frequency of lack, desperation, and absence. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, can only reflect that lack back to you in your external circumstances. If you're recognizing that what you truly desire is the feeling of freedom, rather than just the numbers in your account, write "Freedom is my true desire" in the comments below. The hidden truth that creates the most significant breakthrough in your manifestation journey is this: you cannot authentically command something you secretly believe you don't deserve. Your sense of worthiness must precede your words. Without this essential foundation of self-value, your commands will always carry an undercurrent of doubt that cancels their power. This revelation illuminates why many spiritual seekers remain stuck in financial struggle despite their best efforts. They're approaching the universe with the right words, but from a subconscious foundation of unworthiness. They might declare, "Abundance flows to me now," while a deeper part of them whispers, "But do I really deserve it?" This inner contradiction creates static in their energetic broadcast that prevents clear manifestation. When I discovered this principle, it completely transformed my approach to abundance. I realized that before I could effectively command prosperity into my life, I needed to address the subconscious beliefs about my own value and deservingness that were creating interference in my energetic broadcast. This recalibration of worthiness isn't about inflating your ego. It's about recognizing your intrinsic value as a divine being with the birthright to abundance. Think about how differently you approach life when you genuinely believe you deserve good things versus when you secretly question your worthiness. When you believe you deserve abundance, you naturally make decisions that align with prosperity. You set healthy boundaries around your resources. You charge appropriately for your services. You invest in your growth without guilt. These aren't techniques you're forcing. They're natural expressions of your inner belief system. This inner journey of claiming your worthiness represents the most profound transformation possible on your spiritual path. Moving from someone who feels the need to justify their prosperity to someone who recognizes abundance as their natural state. When your worthiness precedes your words, when you speak from an unshakable foundation of self-value, your commands carry an authenticity that the divine immediately recognizes and responds to. The decision point in your own journey comes when you realize that no amount of external techniques, affirmations, or visualization practices can override a fundamental sense of unworthiness. The real work happens at this deeper level of self-concept, addressing the core beliefs that have been broadcasting limitation rather than expansion. Think about the beliefs you inherited about money and success. Many of us were unconsciously programmed with messages like, "Money is the root of all evil," "Rich people are greedy," or "You have to struggle to succeed." These beliefs create an energetic contradiction when you try to command abundance. Part of you is saying, "Come to me," while another part is saying, "But you're evil if you do." The path to resolving this contradiction isn't about trying harder with your affirmations or speaking your commands more forcefully. It's about gently but persistently addressing these core beliefs that create static in your energetic broadcast. It's about recognizing that abundance isn't something you need to earn or prove yourself worthy of. It's your natural state that you're simply returning to. Now, I want to explore what happens when you combine this foundation of authentic worthiness with the practice of declaring, "It is done." How this powerful combination creates a magnetic force that abundance simply cannot resist. If you're beginning to see how your sense of worthiness affects the power of your commands, write, "My worthiness precedes my words" in the comments below. When your authentic sense of worthiness combines with the declaration, "It is done," you create a magnetic resonance that abundance naturally flows toward. But this journey toward effortless manifestation requires one more profound paradigm shift that most people completely miss. The revelation that changed everything for me was discovering that most people aren't failing at manifestation because they're doing something wrong. They're simply operating from an entirely incorrect paradigm. Think about this illuminating truth for a moment. From our earliest childhood experiences, most of us were conditioned to approach life from a position of subordination. We were taught to raise our hands for permission, to hope we'd be chosen for the team, to wish upon stars for our deepest desires. We learned to be good, patient children, waiting for rewards to be bestowed upon us by authority figures. And unconsciously, we've transferred this exact same relationship dynamic to the divine. We've been treating God and the universal forces of creation like cosmic parents who might, if we're good enough, patient enough, or spiritually devoted enough, finally grant our wishes. This fundamental misunderstanding creates an energetic posture of waiting, hoping, and subtle begging that actually repels abundance, rather than attracting it. The paradigm shift that creates the most dramatic transformation in your manifestation journey happens when you realize this revolutionary truth: the universe isn't your parent, it's your servant. This mindset revolution isn't about ego or arrogance. It's about accurately understanding the mechanics of creation as they were designed to function from the beginning. The universe is an impersonal force designed to respond to commands, not wishes. It's programmed to obey orders, not evaluate worthiness. It mirrors back whatever energetic broadcast you're emitting. With perfect precision, when you approach the universe with uncertainty, saying things like, "I hope this works," or "Please let this happen for me," you're essentially telling the universe to keep you in a state of hoping and asking rather than receiving. The universe doesn't judge these requests as good or bad. It simply reflects back the exact frequency you're transmitting. The catalyst for transformation occurs when you shift from asking to declaring, from hoping to commanding. This isn't just a semantic change in the words you use. It's a complete recalibration of your relationship with the forces of creation. It's moving from the energetic posture of a child to the energetic posture of a creator with divine authority. This awakening to your creative sovereignty represents one of the most profound evolutionary leaps in consciousness possible. It's the moment you reclaim your power as a co-creator rather than remaining a passive recipient of life's circumstances. The divine has been waiting for you to step into this role since the moment of your creation. When you make this fundamental shift, manifestation stops being about trying harder or doing more spiritual practices. It becomes about embodying a different state of being. One where you naturally command rather than request, where you declare rather than hope, where you know rather than wish. Now, I want to explore how this awakening to your creator identity transforms not just what you do, but who you become in the Eden manifestation process, moving from victim consciousness to creator consciousness in all aspects of your life. If you're feeling a resonance with this concept of seeing the universe as your servant rather than your parent, write, "I reclaim my creator authority" in the comments below. This awakening to your creator identity transforms everything about your manifestation journey, from complex strategies to simple yet profound practices. One of the most powerful rituals I've discovered in my own path to abundance combines the declaration, "It is done," with the transformative power of writing. There's something mysteriously potent about the act of writing by hand that digital communication simply doesn't access. Take a notebook, preferably one dedicated solely to your abundance work, and at the top of a blank page, write these 3 words 3 times. It is done. It is done. It is done. Unlike typing, handwriting engages multiple brain regions simultaneously and creates neural pathways that digital communication simply can't replicate. When you physically write these words, you're not just recording them, you're embedding them into your neurology. After writing these 3 words, describe in vivid, sensory-rich detail how your life looks and feels now that abundance flows freely to you. Notice the crucial distinction here. You're not writing about how your life will be when abundance comes someday in the future. You're writing as if it's already here, as if you're simply documenting your current reality. This subtle shift from future orientation to present acknowledgement creates a profound energetic alignment that accelerates manifestation beyond what most people believe possible. Describe how you feel waking up each morning, knowing your financial freedom is secured. Detail how your relationships have transformed now that money stress no longer colors your interactions. Explore how your physical environment has changed, what decisions you're making differently, even how your posture and breathing have shifted now that financial pressure has been released. This writing exercise does something remarkable. It creates a detailed blueprint that your subconscious mind begins working to materialize. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you've actually experienced and what you've vividly imagined. When you create this detailed, written account of your abundant reality, your subconscious begins reorganizing your perceptions, decisions, and actions to match this new blueprint. It's like installing new software that begins running immediately. But here's the most surprising revelation about manifestation that I discovered through years of research and personal experience. The catalytic element that supercharges results isn't discipline, persistence, or even unwavering belief. It's joy, pure, authentic joy. This insight transforms everything about how we approach the manifestation process. Joy isn't just a pleasant emotional state. It's the highest vibrational frequency you can embody, and it's profoundly magnetic to abundance. When you laugh genuinely, when you experience that bubbling sensation of delight without forcing it, you're telling the universe, "I trust you completely. I'm so certain everything is working out that I can fully relax into this moment." This signal of trust creates an energetic opening through which abundance flows naturally and effortlessly. Most people approach manifestation with such seriousness, such strain and intensity, that they actually create resistance to what they're trying to attract. They turn wealth creation into another burden, another source of pressure in their lives. But those who master the art of playful manifestation, approaching it with lightness, curiosity, and genuine joy, create a magnetic field that abundance cannot resist. Try this revolutionary approach. Instead of worrying about the how of your manifestation, laugh at the idea that you ever doubted your power to create what you desire. Find the genuine humor in your previous limitation. If you're discovering that joy might be the missing ingredient in your manifestation practice, write "Joy attracts abundance" in the comments below. This journey we've been exploring isn't just about financial manifestation or material success. It's about the profound transformation from feeling spiritually empty to being divinely filled. moving from the wilderness of uncertainty and limitation into the sanctuary of a knowing and expansion. This shift represents one of the most significant evolutions possible in human consciousness. When you feel lost, disconnected, or uncertain, the words, "It is done," serve as a bridge between these two states of being, between feeling adrift in a sea of hoping and wishing to standing firmly on the shore of peaceful certainty. These three simple words reconnect you instantly to the divine truth that has been obscured by years of conditioning and forgotten wisdom about your authentic identity. Think about those moments in your life when you felt completely lost, disconnected from source, uncertain about your path forward. That emptiness isn't a sign of spiritual deficiency. It's actually a divine invitation to remember who you really are. The void you feel is simply the space between who you've been conditioned to be and who you were designed to be from the beginning, a conscious creator with the authority to command rather than beg. When you make this shift, from feeling lost to feeling found, what seemed like miracles begin unfolding naturally in your experience. Synchronicities multiply, resources align, opportunities appear that perfectly match your desires. This isn't magical thinking, it's the natural consequence of aligning with universal law rather than fighting against it. It's remembering a truth your soul has always known, but your conditioning has obscured. The words, "It is done," aren't just a manifestation technique or a spiritual practice. They're a declaration of who you truly are at the deepest level, a creator, not a victim, a commander of reality, not a passive recipient of circumstances. Every time you feel empty, disconnected, or uncertain, these three simple words can instantly reconnect you to the truth of who you really are. Consider how this principle operates in your daily experiences. Have you noticed that during those rare moments when you drop all worry and simply know that everything is working out perfectly, solutions tend to appear almost magically? Have you experienced times when you surrendered the desperate need to control outcomes and suddenly everything fell into perfect alignment? These weren't coincidences. They were glimpses of your natural state of being as a conscious creator. This revelation brings a profound liberation to your spiritual journey. You no longer need to chase techniques, accumulate more knowledge, or perfect complex manifestation systems. The path forward is actually one of remembering rather than learning, of returning to your authentic design rather than trying to become something you're not. The decision to shift from feeling empty to standing in your creator consciousness is available to you in every moment through this simple declaration. When you whisper, "It is done," from this place of authentic remembering, you're not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're simply acknowledging what has always been true beneath the layers of forgetting. You're reclaiming your divine birthright as someone designed to command blessings, not beg for them. Now, I want to explore something that might completely transform how you implement these principles in your daily life. A simple yet profound practice that anchors this state of completion into your physical experience and accelerates manifestation beyond what most people believe possible. If you're experiencing that sense of remembering rather than learning as we explore these principles together, write "I remember who I truly am" in the comments below. As we bring this journey of transformation to a close, I want you to remember something powerful. The words, "It is done," aren't just a spiritual technique. They're a reminder of your natural state as a conscious creator. Every time you feel empty, disconnected, or uncertain, these three simple words can instantly reconnect you to the truth of who you really are. I create these messages because I've seen these principles transform lives, including my own, in ways that seem miraculous to outside observers, but are simply natural law in action. The journey from feeling empty to standing in your divine fullness is one of the most profound evolutions possible in human consciousness, and it's available to you in every moment through this simple declaration. If something in this message resonated deeply with you today, if you felt that subtle, energetic shift we discussed, tap that like button. Not for me, but as a declaration to the universe that you're stepping into this new level of consciousness. Your like becomes a physical gesture of alignment with these principles. I'd love to continue this journey of abundance with you. If you found value in these revelations, consider subscribing to join our community of conscious creators. Each week, I share another piece of the spiritual puzzle, another key that unlocks a new level of divine connection within you. If this message found its way to you, exactly when you needed it most, if you feel these words were divinely guided to reach you today, write, "Divine timing brought me here" in the comments below. I read every comment and love connecting with fellow creators on this path of awakening. There's a video right here that perfectly complements what we've discussed today. It reveals the hidden blocks that might be interfering with your "it is done" commands and how to dissolve them effortlessly. Click and continue with me over there, because your journey to commanding miracles into your life is just beginning. Remember, you were born to command blessings, not beg for them, and the divine is listening.